Hi, and welcome to the Travel Boss. Today's video is about the top 10 things to do in Thessaloniki. A port, a place of higher learning, and a cultural giant, Thessaloniki in Central Macedonia is Greece's second-largest city. For centuries, Thessaloniki was also the second city of the Byzantine Empire, deferring only to Constantinople. From that time, the Christian and Byzantine monuments, like the Hagios Demetrios and Hagia Sophia churches, are part of one large UNESCO World Heritage Site. In addition, we have another special tip in the description, more about this later. Let's get started. Number 10. White Tower of Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki's signature monument, the cylindrical, 6-story White Tower, shows up on postcards and souvenirs, and is the image many people in Greece call to mind when they think of the city. Put up to reinforce the eastern end of the harbor, the tower is right on the water and went up in the 15th century after Thessaloniki was taken by the Ottoman Empire. With a diameter of 23 meters, the tower is 34 meters tall and hosts a museum about the history of Thessaloniki, laid out by the Museum of Byzantine Culture. There's a multilingual audio guide to explain the exhibits, and you can scale the spiral staircase to look over Thessaloniki and its harbor from the battlements. Number 9. Hagios Demetrios. After Thessaloniki's patron Saint Demetrius was martyred in the 4th century, a church was built on the same site. The early buildings here were repeatedly destroyed by the fire until the current structure was constructed as a 5-aisled basilica in the early 630s. The church is famed for its mosaic panels dating to sometime between the 630s to the 730s, showing Demetrius with children and with the church founders are rare examples of art from the time following Emperor Justinian's death. Number 8. Aristotelous Square. As good a place as any to begin a walking tour in Thessaloniki, Aristotelous Square is on the city's waterfront at Nekis Avenue. This splendid plaza was conceived by the French architect Ernest Hébrard in 1918, although it would be a few decades before the square was edged by its current mansion blocks, which are now all listed buildings. Almost all of Thessaloniki's public celebrations, Christmas and New Year, as well as cultural and political events and rallies, are held in Aristotelous Square. Several former prime ministers of Greece have given speeches here, including Andreas Papandreou and later his son George Papandreou. On the northeast side, the Olympian Theatre Cinema hosts the Thessaloniki International Film Festival every March. Number 7. Rotunda. At the turn of the 4th century, Roman Emperor Galerius ordered a rotunda and connecting arch, an ensemble that joined his palace to an imperial precinct at the crossing point of the city's main axis. This new imperial precinct was constructed as a new administrative base after the foundation of the Tetrarchy, when the Roman Empire was split into 4 separate kingdoms, making Thessaloniki a new capital. The UNESCO-listed rotunda is a mesmerizing space, with a dome 30 meters above the floor that was once pierced with an oculus, like the Pantheon in Rome. The building has been used as a pagan temple, a Christian church, and a mosque throughout the Ottoman period. A minaret is still standing outside. On the walls are newly restored Paleo-Christian mosaics from the 5th century A.B. Number 6. Atatürk Museum. In 1881, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the man who would become the founder and leader of the modern secular Turkish state, was born at this 3-story house on Apostolo Pavlou Street, now incorporated into the Turkish consulate. In 1935, Thessaloniki gave the building to the Turkish state to turn into a museum about his life and career. The house dates to 1870 and is decorated with mostly original furniture and personal belongings like clothing, eating utensils, smoking paraphernalia, and crockery, as well as photographs from different stages of Atatürk's life. You can see the room in which Atatürk was born and find a pomegranate tree in the courtyard that was planted by his father. Number 5. Arch of Galerius. On Ignatia and Demetrios Canary Street, the Arch of Galerius was raised to celebrate Galerius' victory over the Sassanid Persians and the conquest of the city of Ctesiphon. The monument was an 8-pillared gateway with a triple arch that was coated in brick and then sculpted marble panels. More than 1,700 years later, you'll be awed by the size of the main portal, 12.5 meters in height, and more than 10 meters wide. Although most of the marble panels have been lost, the remaining reliefs give you more than enough detail. Number 4. Hagia Sophia. Today's Hagia Sophia took on its present architecture as long ago as the 8th century. It was modeled on its namesake church in Constantinople, and from the capture of Thessaloniki in 1430 right through to its liberation in 1912, Hagia Sophia was a mosque. The building is a shining piece of Byzantine Middle Period architecture, despite some of the mishaps to have befallen it, like fires in 1890 and 1917. After the second fire, the dome wouldn't be restored until 1980. This has a mosaic dating from the 9th century depicting the Ascension, with Jesus lifted by 2 angels and ringed by the 12 apostles and Mary. Above the iconostasis is another captivating image from the 11th century and showing the Madonna with a child. Number 3. Alexander the Great Monument. Next to a fountain at Nea Perilia is an equestrian statue of Macedonia's most famous son, part of a development that has regenerated the waterfront. Thessaloniki was named in the 4th century BC after Thessalonica of Macedon, a half-sister of Alexander and wife of King Cassander of Macedon. The monument is 6 meters high and shows him on Bucephalus, one of antiquity's most distinguished horses. Along the promenade beside Alexander are rows of sarissas, the long pikes introduced by Philip II of Macedon and used to great success by Alexander at the battles of Issus, the Granicus, and Gaugamela. Number 2. Heptapyrgion. On high ground at the northeastern side of Thessaloniki's Acropolis is a Byzantine-era fortress that was the city's main redoubt. Despite the name Heptapyrgion, the fortress has 10 towers instead of 7, 5 to the north and 5 to the south, all joined together by a wall. The northern towers are from the 900s, while the southern towers were erected in the 12th century. From the 15th century, the Ottomans simply maintained the existing building, giving it a military purpose until the 1890s when it became a prison, a role it kept until 1989. Number 1. Ladadika. Behind the ferry port, a brief walk from Aristotelous Square, is the historic district of Ladadika, with colorfully painted houses, workshops, and warehouses on cobblestone streets with restaurant tables. One of the best places to go out in Thessaloniki, Ladadika used to be a chaotic merchant district, settled by many of the city's Sephardic Jews. The name Ladadika comes from the shops that used to sell olive oil and olive oil products in the quarter. During the wars in the 20th century, the quarter became a cosmopolitan red light district, crawling with spies, and with businesses and clientele from all over the world. What do you think about this video? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.